Hi guys, Peter here. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, if you're one of those guys who like the relationship stories, you're in for a real treat today. I've got two, and the second one might surprise you. Okay, so let's jump straight in. My name is John. I am an early retiree and came to Thailand in 2019. My intention was to visit family here and travel throughout Southeast Asia. I was introduced to my Thai sister-in-law's niece. Fon is a 32 years old and has a young child. Fon comes from a poor village in Isan. Fon's family assured me she was a cashier and not a bar girl in Chonburi. I was sceptical, but I agreed to meet her in Soi MK Metro Pattaya. I was under no illusion that I was being lined up to be a potential sponsor boyfriend to take care of her in the traditional Thai way. So Fon and I had a brief relationship after meeting in Pattaya, bar fine paid and exclusive use for the duration, etc. I ended our relationship due to many things we did not agree on and problems that I felt existed between us. She liked to spend money, my money, it was like water. Fon didn't like being told no. On the positive side, Fon is fun to be with. They all are, aren't they? She's a bright woman speaking English well, but the deceit and the lies were too much for me. I didn't quite get the sick buffalo stories, but Fon told me constant untrue tales, and in particular of a broken motorcycle and needed to pay back money she owed to friends and rent, etc. We parted company on good terms given that she is still a distant part of my family. We have occasional contact via WhatsApp and I refuse to give her money and will only offer her moral support. A short while after ending my relationship with Fon, I was contacted via Facebook Messenger. Out of the blue, some young besotted guy in the UK wanted to know if I knew her. Needless to say, I put him straight about a few things. I was not naive enough to believe that I was exclusive. Poor guy was distraught at the thought of Fon seeing others when he was back in the UK. So post Fon, I quickly moved on and I joined a couple of online dating sites. All I can say is it's like being a kid in a candy shop, but you mustn't eat too much and you had better understand the rules. I met several women on first dates, but developed nothing beyond those first meetings. However, I did have another brief relationship with Dang. Dang was a bit of a party girl. She worked, I'm sure illegally, in a massage shop some 90 kilometres from my rental accommodation. Very cute girl, however, spoke little English. It turns out that Dang was from Laos and was married to a Thai. She was a young woman in her early 30s with a small kid in tow. She told me tales of domestic abuse and failed marriages, etc., that on the face of it were quite convincing. She told me that her Thai husband had taken her child away from her and was being brought up by his family. She told me that she was being forced into working at the massage shop, probably all true, as Thais tend to look down on foreign workers from other Southeastern Asian countries. I told her to go to the police if she was indeed being enslaved, as she told me. She told me that she could not go to the police as her husband's family had police connections and she feared losing her child forever. I then agreed to buy her a plane ticket to escape her immediate predicament. She wanted to stay with her sister in Phuket. She said she would book the flight herself if I gave her some money. Really? I insisted I book her flight, and that was when I seen that her marriage visa had expired to her Thai husband. I immediately ended our relationship, not wanting to be associated with an illegal alien in Thailand. Now, during this time, I almost met my current girlfriend. I met my current girlfriend at a local shopping mall. We have been together for 8 months now. She is 11 years younger than me. She is very well educated and a single mother to a teenage child. She has been open and honest with me about having a married sponsor from the Americas for the past 12 to 13 years. Now, whilst most readers would say, what the heck, this is Thailand after all, I have to say I wasn't really shocked after her disclosure. As I have already noted, her lifestyle was beyond her apparent income. Now I could have cut and run at this stage, as probably most men would, but I asked myself, how many of my fellow men have several women on the go back in their homeland? Here in Thailand, women can do the same, surely. I asked myself, why do a lot of men come to Thailand? I asked myself if everyone is happy. Then there is no problem having this type of open relationship, although having said that, I'm not sure what her sponsor would say if he found out about us. He could be happy, who knows. Some folks are quite content with open relationships. After all, I am still free to see others if I choose the odd soapy massage. Massage aside, since being here and discovering different attitudes of casual relationships, etc., who are we Westerners to judge the Thais on their lifestyles? You either jump in or jump ship. As they say, it's up to you. I would say that a lot of foreign men here are suffering from some sort of delusion if they compare their Western values to Thai values. There are, of course, many happily married foreign men with Thai wives in the traditional sense, and those in open girlfriend-boyfriend relationships. I am happy for those relationships, but I am equally aware that if you mentally prepare yourself for infidelity, it will not come as a huge disappointment and you will be able to deal with it in a rational way. It is not uncommon for Thai men to have a wife or a mia noi, that's a second wife, so why are we surprised when women also follow this example and have fulfilled lives with different partners also? I have changed my attitudes from what I consider to be boring traditional Western ways. As a result, I believe I am a better person, but these are my opinions and mine only. Others may beg to differ, that is their prerogative. Okay, so quite a short one there, and we'll move on to the second story. Okay, this is quite a long story, but it's got a surprising twist at the end of it. So I'll just jump straight in and I'll start reading this one. Here we go. I live in upstate New York and was internet dating back in 2015 when I was 51. I met a Thai girl named Mook. There was no attraction. She said, let's be friends, explaining that she had a lot of parties with lady friends and you may meet someone. I went to the first party. It was in New Jersey. I saw the girls. Wow. It was like being in a James Bond movie. Beautiful women, awesome homemade Thai food. One girl named Beep and I got together a few times after the party. She kind of sent mixed messages and then she went home as her father had died. Mook told me Beep could never come back to the USA because she was here on an expired visa. I kept in touch with Beep on Facebook, and in November of 2016 she was posting pics of awesome food. I mentioned how much I love Thai food and she invited me to visit her. I landed in Bangkok and Beep met me at the airport. The plan was to stay a few days at her sister's house and her brother-in-law's home and then go to Khon Kaen. The first night I had a wonderful accommodations at her family's home. There was a guest house. I opened the Tinder app out of habit and it was exploding with women who wanted to meet me. I talked most with a girl named Bok and another named Nam Pen, both about 10 years younger than me. I felt I clicked the most with Bok. I was up all night chatting due to jet lag. Over the next 24 hours, I became uncomfortable with Beep. She constantly had her hand in my wallet, would literally pocket change when I paid for an event, food, gas for the car, etc. We went to Chiang Rai. I enjoyed that, but it became apparent she had no romantic intentions with me. I asked her if it was okay to meet another woman and she said no problem. I arranged to meet Bok, but there was a miscommunication when I tried to confirm the date. I went with Nam Pen instead. Beep drove me to Siam Mall. I volunteered to translate upon introduction to Nam Pen. Beep left and Nam Pen and I spoke mostly using Google Translate. We made arrangements to meet for breakfast the next day and I returned to Beep's family home. I made Beep aware that I would be out the next morning with Nam Pen and she said okay. I texted Nam Pen in the morning and she met me outside the gate. The home I was staying in was a gated community. I had routinely walked in and out of the gate to go to 7-Eleven and had no incident with security, but this morning the guard on duty felt compelled to call Beep's brother-in-law and inform him I had left in a taxi with a woman. I enjoyed breakfast with Nam Pen but started getting poorly worded angry messages from Beep, another of her family members being upset with me. I just responded that I would be back soon. I told Nam Pen that I had committed to going to Khon Kaen with Beep to see temples and hike, but would try to see when I could get back. I arrived back at Beep's family home and her brother-in-law was leaving for work. I had written him a message on Google Translate that said basically, if I had done something wrong, I am sorry and I am a naive American. I did not want any problems with my family members. He said, "Don't worry about it, Dave. I'll see you when you get back from Konken." He left and Beep began yelling at me. It lasted at least 45 minutes. She said that she had lost face with her brother-in-law because of me. He woke her up and scolded her for letting me go out in the community by myself as I might be scammed and he would then lose face. I apologized to her, but it took her a while to calm down. Then she decided we would just continue to Konken. We flew to Konken. I had the best chicken soup I have ever tasted. We were to stay at her mother's home. Beep asked me to go for a motorcycle ride with her. Upon arriving at a local river, she again browbeat me over the incident with her brother-in-law. I told her I was leaving because I felt something was wrong with her. She said, "No, you can't leave now. I will lose face with my mother." Getting ready for bed that night, I started to get text messages on the Line app from our mutual friend back in the USA. It was Mook. Beep had told Mook that I paid for ladies and took them to her family home. I thought how bizarre this vacation was getting. I began texting Nampen saying I would try to get back to Bangkok ASAP. The next morning I woke up and walked her neighbourhood in Konken looking for transportation to the airport. Few people were awake and I needed someone who spoke English. I came upon two locals and asked them how to get to the airport. They were able to communicate in broken English and told me that they would be delighted to drive me to the airport. I said I would return in a few minutes with a bag packed. Upon arriving at Beep's mother's home, she and her mother were now awake and Beep asked where I had been. I decided to make a scene. I'm from New York and there reaches a point where you have to deliver an up yours type of message and I wanted Beep to lose face. I dropped my bag at her mother's feet and made her understand that her daughter had been a bad hostess and she had lied and insulted me to a mutual friend, causing me to lose face. I picked up my bag and began to walk away. Beep got frightened and restrained me, insisting that she drive me because if the neighbours saw me leaving like this, she would lose face. We got in the car and drove past the folks who had volunteered to give me a ride. I said to them, "Thanks anyway." On the way to the airport, Beep denied lying about my behaviour to our friend, said it must have been a misunderstanding. I said, "I think you're crazy." I messaged to Nampen that I was on my way and she met me with a girlfriend at the airport who was also her employer in a shop. She spoke good English. All this time I am keeping in touch with Bok also. Nampen had taken the week off work to be with me. She and her friend drove me to a hotel very nice near Nana BTS station. I did not realise it was also a red light district, but the hotel was nice. We spent 3 nights and days together. She took me to Carlson Road and one of the King's summer palaces. She was sweet and wonderful, but a bit clingy. She spent too much time at Carlson Road with her brother and the lady friend I had met, and I also felt that a girl with an education would be more stimulating than Nampen. I wanted to bring a girl back to the USA and I felt she would struggle to learn English. I made some excuses to Nampen that I was meeting friends who were in Bangkok and sent her on her way so I could date Bok. Bok had awesome bikini photos online and she was also more talkative. We had made a dinner arrangement near Nana station and when I saw Bok getting off the train, I just felt she was the one. It was nice that both of these Thai women looked like their profile pic online versus American women with old fake photos. Over dinner, I told Bok that if I were to meet a nice girl to bring to the USA, she would have to work. It was meant half jokingly, but I would have wanted to make it clear that if things worked out, she would not expect to be a kept woman back home. We had a wonderful 42 hours together. Broken English and Google Translate worked fine. We went to a temple on the river and I liked all the places we ate, including Chinatown. At a temple, Bok asked a monk for a blessing who sprinkled water on us and tied a string around our wrists. I never lost that string. It's in my wallet here 4 days later. After the last night together, I was up getting dressed thinking I would go home, probably never hear from this beautiful sweet girl again and have to start dating in New York again. She blurred out in broken English, "If we have make baby, will you come back for us?" I was flabbergasted. No girl had ever said something so sweet to me. I grabbed her and held her and explained that I had an operation so could not father children. I told her I would come back for her as soon as possible. We made love again and Bok saw me off at the train station. She could not go to the airport as she had to report to work. She was employed as a personal clerk. Upon returning to New York, it was late November 2016. We started chatting online daily and had a weekly video chat. I took a second job to start saving for my trip to Bangkok. In chatting online with Bok, I did not propose to her per se, but when we received the visa, when we reviewed the visas available, the fiancé visa was the best deal, and I suggested that one to her. I told her I wanted to get to know her better and meet her family. She said, if you meet my mother, we must get married. I did not confirm marriage, but I want to get to know you better. I would send her a Christmas gift, a Valentine's card, a birthday gift, which she would immediately post pictures of online to the awe of her girlfriends. I sent her flowers at work. She said no man has ever done that for her before. Her lady friends really flipped over that. I have since learned that most Thai men are not very romantic. I flew to Thailand again in spring 2017 and got sick on the plane with a fever. I stayed with Bok in her apartment. I remember waking up and seeing her lovingly sitting by the bed watching over me. I got better after a day or two and we drove with her brother to see her mother in Nakhon Nayok. Her brother is a rice farmer. She had warned me that her family were dirt poor. I said no problem. I had an ex-wife in the States. We had made good money and she was never happy. I stayed at a local hotel while Bok slept at her mum's home because Bok said in a small village people would talk about her sleeping with me. I enjoyed meeting Bok's family and seeing a different side of Thailand rather than the city of Bangkok. Bok and I flew to the south and had a romantic vacation time on Phi Phi Island. We continued making plans to be together. Upon my return to New York, I continued working second jobs and sent Bok money for driving school. She successfully got a driver's license. She would need this skill in upstate New York as there is not a good mass transit system. We also began filing the fiancé visa and I returned to Bangkok November 2017 with paperwork Bok would need at the US Embassy. We vacationed in the north, flew to Chiang Mai and drove to Chiang Rai. What a winding road. It was great to see the White Temple. I returned to New York and awaited Bok's visa, which arrived in the summer of 2018. Bok arrived at JFK Airport in New York City, September the 6th, and I met her with flowers. We lived together for a month and I showed her around the Hudson Valley. I saw a gentleman and handed him a video camera and asked him to take a video of us, which he was happy to do so. I got on my knee and proposed to Bok with the ring. She was quite caught off guard and speechless, but agreed, and we were married November 6th and are still together today. Bok has a job at a local store while she continues taking an English class. We tried to get back to Thailand May 2020, but with this damned pandemic, we have postponed our plans. Bok is able to deal with bad luck moments, and I think her Buddhist philosophy has made me a better person in terms of being patient with others. I look forward to a long and happy life with Bok. Sometimes I think back to Phnom Penh and hope she met a nice man because she deserves it. I have never had to turn away a kind heart but I feel I am in a better situation with Bok. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed those two relationship stories. Okay, so before I go, I just want to, I give other YouTubers a mention now and again. There's a guy, I'll put the text up on this video so you can see who I'm talking about. But there's a guy, he hasn't got a lot of subscribers at the moment. He's fairly new. I don't know how long his channel's been going, but it's called The Tiger's Den. And he's got a video on there that's real interesting. Now it's photographs. It's a video made up of photographs, but it's old Pattaya. And there's pictures going way back to the 60s. It looks like the 60s anyway, black and white pictures. So if you ever wondered what bar girls and Walking Street and Pattaya looked like back then in the 60s and 70s, go and have a look at this video. As I say, I'll put the link to the video in the description, and I'll also put it across the top of this video. Again, the channel's called the Tiger's Den. So maybe if a few of you subscribe to him, it will encourage him to get a bit more busier on his channel, and we'll see what he comes up with in the future. Okay, guys, that's it from me today. Thanks as always for watching this one, and I'll catch you next time round.